Hi, it's Caroline Cousins, www.carolinecousins.com, talking to you today about failure energy. Now, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients over the years, probably into the thousands, and something that comes up again and again, even with the most successful entrepreneurs, is failure energy, programs of failure that's running under the surface. So I hear you ask, how can they be so successful but still run that failure energy? Well, the difference is that you can still be successful and still put all the intention, all the effort, all the action into making a successful business and still make it successful, but you can still be running that failure energy. In comparison to somebody that is a successful entrepreneur that doesn't have that failure energy running, and opportunities come so much easier, and it's not like pushing a great big boulder up the hill to get to that success and that achievement and to fulfill those expectations of the business and life that you have. So when you are aligned with your goals, when we're getting rid of those programs and underlying judgments of failure, life gets easier. Life flows more easily, and it's much easier to achieve. It's much easier to reach more potential and in fact reveal more potential that's running within you anyway. So what is failure energy and where does it come from? Failure can often be a root cause. And very often, many times through questioning in the client sessions I have, that we can get to failure, and that's the bottom line. There is nothing underneath that at that moment in time. But very often, failure is linked to abandonment, and failure becomes a symptom of that underlying abandonment. And that is, to me, the biggest abundance block of all. When we have that abandonment energy running, we're separate from everything. We're separate from God's source, universal energy. We're separate from our mother, our father, our family, friends. When we have that separation anxiety running, then we're denying all of our abundance in every area of our life. And so creating that abundance or creating an abundant life becomes an uphill struggle. It's hard work, because we're coming up against all that resistance all the time. Now, when we have that failure energy running, these are programs from experiences, these are judgments, these are feelings, these are memories that have been created at one moment in time and then possibly got reinforced. You may even have inherited them, so you can always look back ancestrally, look at your parents and see what sort of behaviors they're running to see if it's a strong ancestral link here. You may even have brought it in with you from other lifetimes that have been maybe some unresolved emotions, feelings there that have been unexpressed at some moment in time, or maybe there's some learning to come with it for the soul. So failure isn't an opposite to success, despite what you might think. Failure is the duality of commitment. You see, when you're running failure energy, you don't complete anything. You don't commit to anything, because you start running the programs of, well, what's the point? What's the point of going down that route? If I go down that route, it's only going to fail, so there's no point in going down that route. So we bring in that self-sabotage energy. If you're running that failure energy really strongly, then you're very driven quite often to, you've got to achieve something, you've got to create something. It's really important for you to do it, and often it's the motivating driver underneath successful entrepreneurs. It makes them push harder and harder, and it means that they devote all their time to making their business work and being successful. There's something internally that they kind of need to prove to themselves. And a successful entrepreneur will put in every effort that they can to do that. But the entrepreneurs or people out there who are running that failure energy very often give in to this lack of commitment that's going on, this duality of the failure, which is a lack of commitment. You see, you're not going to commit to anything if you're running that failure energy. It's going to be very hard to, put it that way. It's going to be very hard to. It depends how much failure energy you're running and where it's coming from. Because life becomes pointless. What's the point? It's only going to be a failure. So I'm going to inadvertently at an unconscious level, sabotage whatever it is that I'm doing. But more than that, then, if I'm running that failure energy and I'm not committing to things, then I'm not actually committing to life. I'm not actually committing to living a full and involved life. And I'm not actually committing to making the best out of my life. I'm not committing to reaching my highest potential and creating the life of freedom that I want to create because of that failure energy. So if I'm not committing to life, I'm also not committing to me. I'm not committing to making the most of this life, and I'm not committing to me within this life, my experience within this life. So we have a rejection of life going on. We have a desire to escape life going on. We have a rejection of self going on there because of that lack of commitment. Again, it's almost a kind of stubbornness from obviously from an ego perspective, but it's almost like, well, what's the point of me continuing along this pathway? What's the point of me going down this road? What's the point of me committing to doing that? Because at one moment in time, I experienced failure like I've never experienced before. And I felt so badly hurt from it, or so distraught from it, or so shocked by it, that I never want to experience that again. And bang, that program got set up. And so every time you get to somewhere where you're starting to achieve some level of success in whatever it is you want to do, or some level of success in love or relationships or business, then you're going to come up against that program. And it's going to bring in a lot of resistance. So you're either going to push through by putting in more action, more effort, and plowing on through it, like walking through a heavy mud, or you're going to give up. You're just going to say there's no point, and you'll leave it incomplete, and then you'll make some excuse that the timing wasn't right, or I didn't get the tools, I didn't get the support, I haven't got the money. All those excuses that the ego makes come in to play there, and then you're back to square one, and then you might try something else in a different direction, and then you'll come up, you'll do so well, you'll get so far, and then bang, once again that failure energy comes in, and it can be so strong in people, and if you don't push through it consciously, then you'll give up because you're not committed, and there'll be something, another project that's incomplete, or I didn't get the backing, I didn't get the financial backing, I didn't get the support, I didn't have the right marketing, it was the wrong time, it was the wrong product, he wasn't the right person for me, and so on and so on. The ego's great at making excuses. The ego loves excuses. It wants to keep you away from putting you into that position where you're going to get hurt again, which you're not. So the easiest way to deal with that failure energy is to clear those subconscious blocks, the subconscious program, to get to those root causes of what's created that in the first place. The experiences that you've had in order to find out, where's this failure energy coming from? Why am I feeling a failure? Why am I hanging on to this failure energy so tightly? What hurt me so much to have created such a strong program there? And feel into it and see what comes up. It's not always easy, because if you're used to being more in control of your environment, then you're not going to be very willing at subconscious levels to let go of some of those programs, and that's why we can't always get straight in and clear everything forever and a day straight away. You can't always do that. The ego's fearful of doing it. It's fearful of letting go of that control, and that's where someone like me comes in. This is what I do. This is what I work with my clients with. I help them to find those deep-rooted beliefs and programming and blocks and emotional stagnation there, and help them to release it, heal it, forgive it, accept it, integrate it. That's my job. That's what I'm good at. And that's what I help people with. And that's what I've learned over nearly 25 years of therapeutic and intuitive experience to do, to read people's energy, to help guide them to find those blocks, and then to help them to remove those blocks, because they can be removed. And I can tell you, when you do start removing those layers of failure and that abandonment, the external environment that you've created totally changes, completely changes, and opportunities come in effortlessly. Clients appear out of nowhere. Things just seem to fall into place. You feel lighter. You feel more in control. More in control by letting go of that control in an ironic sort of way. You feel lighter, fresher, more vibrant. It's that abundant, natural state that we are coming into play. But you have to remove all those hooks to the failure in order to get that abundance back and create those that flow of energy to flow more freely through you. You have to remove the programming. If you don't get into that subconscious level and those energetic levels, then it's always going to be going round and round in a loop. And I'm just going to give you a quick analogy here. If you imagine your mind, and if you have you as the conscious part of the mind, the adult mind is a board director sitting in a boardroom, and you have the boardroom filled with 9 other board directors representing your subconscious mind. Imagine then you at a conscious level going into that boardroom and saying, I'm going to change this behavior today, and this is how I'm going to do it. And those other 9 board directors say, we don't want to change, because remember what happened last time we changed. Do you remember that? I remember that. You got hurt, and then this happened, and then this happened, so there's no point in going down that route. It would be very difficult for that one board director, your conscious adult mind, to persuade those 9 board directors representing the subconscious part of the mind. Very, very difficult. And that's why you've got to get in and persuade those board directors at subconscious level first, because when you start doing that and you start changing them one by one, it gets easier and easier. So something for you to ponder on if you're running failure energy, or if you're going down a direction but it just doesn't seem to be quite getting there, and you keep finding that you're giving up, or it's becoming incomplete, or you find that you're making excuses about things. I bet you're running that failure energy in your energy systems. So contact me, have a look at my website, see what I do, see if I can help you. If not, I hope this helps you anyway. Okay, have a great day.